Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
24-year-old Justin Thomas continues his storybook season. The PGA Championship winner adds the Dell Technology Championship to his incredible season resume. JT wins for the 5th time this season, moves to #1 in the FedEx Cup standings, and jumps to #4 in the world. 5 wins on the season. Justin Thomas is on top of the world. And with that, we welcome you to Golf Central. What a Monday it was in Boston. Ryan Burr with 3 PGA Tour winners, Brandel Chambly, Nota Begay, and John Cook. And Brandel, 24 years of age. Last week, we had Jordan Spieth go toe-to-toe with Dustin Johnson. This time around, it's probably now the likely player of the year. Jordan Spieth finishes second for a second consecutive week, but he loses to arguably the best player of the year.
We knew it was going to be a great show today. It didn't disappoint. Justin Thomas certainly didn't disappoint. What an epic year that he's putting together. Okay, it's just below some of the years that Tiger Woods and Ben Hogan and Arnold Palmer put together, but it is that next tier, and he's very close to getting into the upper tier of great years. Phil Mickelson never won 5 times in one year, and we think of that run that Tiger Woods had from 99 to 2003. Well, he won 5 times in 2001, 5 times in 2002. That's what Justin Thomas is doing. And also, it's not just the wins, it's the rivalry that we have now brewing. We really weren't treated to a rivalry with Tiger Woods. He pretty much emasculated all of his closest pursuers. And we really haven't had a great rivalry in the game of golf. But now then, between Spieth and Thomas and, who knows, Spieth and Dustin Johnson, we're going to have a wonderful rivalry going back and forth here.
I think you're absolutely right, Brandel. And I had an interesting round of golf a couple years ago. Played a casual round of golf with Jimmy Johnson. That was when he was splitting time between Steve Stricker and Justin Thomas. Thomas was starting to become a little bit more acclimated to the PGA Tour. And one thing that he did look at me and say, he says, just give this kid a couple years. And when he learns how to play, when he learns how to work his way around PGA Tour venues, and he learns really how good he is. Well, Jimmy, I think he's learned. And he's gotten to that point to where he is able to endure the pressure put on by a Jordan Spieth. Spieth goes out and did exactly what he had to do. Went out in 30.
Yep.
Thomas goes out in 32. Leishman gets off to a great start, and all of a sudden we have a shootout going. But Thomas is the only one of the 3 to shoot under par on the back 9. He endured it, he absorbed it, and he went out and persevered.
Jimmy Johnson's been on Nick Price's bag, Steve Stricker's bag, and a lot of great bags. So, you know, what Jimmy would say, I would certainly go with. And he saw that potential in Justin, as Steve Stricker would say to him. It's great to see the PGA Tour, and especially for the young Americans, to have these rivalries like you were talking about. There really wasn't. There was the big 3, there was this and that, and now there's just a lot of really good players. But this, you know, Thomas, Spieth, Johnson, this trio right here, it is fun to watch.
And just think about what Justin Thomas has done this year, this season. He's won the 5 times. He's won his first major. He shot a 59 in Hawaii. He has 2 63s, including one at the United States Open. Justin Thomas has arrived, and certainly right now there is nobody better. Let's take a look and see how he got it done. It was a wild one. As the boys indicated, Jordan Spieth came out and did exactly what he had to do, sent a message that he would not be going away.
Yes, at the first hole all week long, he just hit these brilliant iron shots, and the whole location today was down the left side, so he needed to drive it down the right side, which he did. You couldn't walk it out there and place it any better than that. That's what Ken Venturi would have said, John. And Ken Venturi, well, he'd have loved this shot. And this is just Spieth doing Spieth things, just like that. He was 2 back, and he goes to 1 back.
Sometimes Spieth happens. Here he is now at the par 5 second. His second from 217.
Yeah, getting off to a solid start, putting his drive in the fairway. Pretty much every player can reach this hole. Greens are receptive. Lowest scoring average today on the week, and you can see why players can attack these hole locations.
To 8 feet, he makes eagle. He's 13 under. He's the co-leader, and he's not done.
The par 3 third hole, 13 feet, right back down the hill. 3, 3, 2 start.
14 under, still the co-leader. Now at the 4th hole, short, par 4.
Pins all the way in the back left, and this is just actually a perfect drive. Left it right where he'd like, right on the upslope. Bit unlucky that it did release a little bit more than that, but he would convert that for birdie.
2 back to start the day. After 4 holes, Spieth a 1-shot lead, but Justin Thomas would not go away.
Well, as Brandel talked about, most of the players are just trying to run something into that bunker front and left, hopefully get it on the upslope. And you can see that right here, a very fortunate break, just gets killed dead in that high rough. Finds himself on the edge of the green with a great eagle look.
We can make an own highlight for JT on this Sunday of Lady Luck. He had several favorable bounces. That one, though, for eagle. He's 15 under. Let's not sleep on Mark Leishman. Beautiful front nine for Leish.
From the right side of the fairway at number 9, like Brandel said, Ken Venturi would love that up the right side to the middle left hole location. You got to set up those angles, give you the widest part of the green to shoot for. Beautifully controlled, 166-yard shot, 9 feet.
Leishman shot 30 on the front. He's 18 under. He has a 2-shot lead. After bogeys at 10 and 11, could he make 3 bogeys in a row?
Running into a tough stretch of golf, and well, the 12th just played fits with everybody all week, and he goes from a bad lie to a worse lie. And, well, you see what he had before him. No way to get that up and down. Bogey, bogey, bogey.
Oh, so just like that, we have a 3-way tie. Can Jordan Spieth take advantage at 13?
Well, he was trying to recover after a bogey at the 12th, had his own struggles there, and the only way to do that is to come back with a great shot, just like that one.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. He's 16 under, 1-shot lead for Jordan. Thomas now at 13.
From the right rough at 13 with a great angle, 125 yards to the hole location. Only needed to fly at about 110. He hit his spot perfectly. This looked like it had a chance to go in. Just misses on the right. He would tap that one in.
Knew there would be no spin. Played it short, let it roll up. Gorgeous shot. 16 under. He's in the co-lead. Jordan now, your turn at 14.
You forget sometimes that he's human because he just punches out iron after iron. 15, 20 feet to the hole, and this was an inexplicable miss, asking for it not to plug. It didn't, but it left him in dire straits. You take a look at this in slow motion. Beautiful action. You're hard-pressed to find any difficulty in that action, but less than ideal.
That just moves off to the right. He's now putting to save par.
And you thought, well, maybe he would do like he did last week with the improbable par save at the 71st hole. This one, good-looking putt, but it just wouldn't break.
And no doubt, he thought that was in. He drops to 15 under. He's one back. JT now at 15.
Yeah, and at this point, the momentum definitely shifting in Thomas's favor. He feels it, he senses it, and he just puts a seal on it right there.
So at 15, Spieth hits the errant shot, leads to bogey. Thomas sets up a birdie and takes a 2-shot lead. Thomas now at 16.
Got a fortunate break here. He got to drop the ball from a horrible lie just to the right, short right of the green. He got to place the ball in a lot better position. Pitches it by 9 feet, but you know what, guys? This was center cut, and he knew it. He knew he needed that putt.
Saves par, just 2 bogeys this week. That's the fewest ever by a winner at TPC Boston. Jordan now at 18 knows he needs to dunk it.
Didn't hit a great shot, but left it in a good spot. And he was trying to fly that one all the way to the hole and get it to spin and go in. You could tell he was playing for an eagle, and he would pay the price.
Now JT knows he has a couple in the bag if he needs it. He bogeys the last, but it would not matter as it's a 66 on the board for Justin Thomas, good for a 3-shot win. And indeed, it is his 6th career PGA Tour win, all in the last 2 years. 5 of the season. That's the most of any player. Of course, he just won the PGA Championship. And how about the company now? He joins names like Nicklaus, Woods, and Spieth. That's what Justin Thomas has done in this incredible season, as he is now the front runner for the PGA Tour Player of the Year. And that for sure, what he's done. It's interesting, you break up his year. He wins in Malaysia at the tail end of 2016, but it's part of the new season. Goes back-to-back in Hawaii, and then goes on a long dry spell. Missed some cuts in there. Really wasn't a factor. Some backdoor top 10s, and then the PGA Championship. And now, what have you seen from Justin Thomas?
He just was patient. I think you have some highs, you have lows in this game. He didn't panic, when he was going through those lows. He knew what he needed to work on, and by the time that the PGA championship season and that part of the season got to him, he was ready to play some golf. But he never panicked. He had a great start, obviously, shooting some low scores. Didn't want to rest on his laurels, but you know what? He figured out what he needed to do. Got better at those things, and from the PGA on, he's just been incredible.
And I think it's been a matter of him understanding that he needs to control his temperament a little bit more. He has a tendency to run hot, and we've caught it a couple times on camera. He's just really hard on himself a lot, and they're all hard on themselves for good reason. They expect a lot out of themselves, but he's young. He wants to win. He sees his peers doing well. He wants to continue to keep pace with everything that's going on, but he and Spieth have definitely identified themselves as the head of the class of 2011, and his ability to control his temperament. We saw a little bit on Sunday at the U.S. Open when things started to sort of slip away from him. We also saw the ability, just the God-given ability, going out there and just shooting the lowest score relative to par in the history of major championship golf. And I think this is just a carryover. He had that understanding that, okay, I can deal with this now, go to the PGA, come from behind, win. Great way to get off to that start. And now he's just sort of putting the, what do they call it, the bow on the present.
99.9% of the golfers that come out on the PGA Tour are wonderfully talented, otherwise they wouldn't be there. Even the best of them takes 2, 3, 4 years to sort of find their way on the PGA Tour and then sort of figure out what their weaknesses are and then work 2 or 3 more years to try to shore up those weaknesses, and all the while trying not to lose their edge. It is so rare when you see a player come along like a Justin Thomas or a Jordan Spieth who has everything at such a young age. He's 3, 4, 5 years ahead of schedule. If you're just watching him, yes, he's got power to burn. It was beautiful watching him today on the 7th hole. No, he doesn't have the fastest club head speed on the PGA Tour. It's plenty fast, though, but he just does everything so beautifully. I mean, this is the longest drive of the day at the 7th hole, 327 yards. So, yes, he can swing upright. He can jump off the ground. He can use his body and rotate and get all of this wonderful force, but he can also scramble. Here he is at the 6th, not the best to drive, sort of a scary second shot, gets it up and over, very aggressive play. So, yeah, short-sighted. He's not a particularly good lie. At this point, he was perfect, 17 of 17, scrambling from around the greens, and this is just a tap-in. For the week, he was 20 for 21 around the greens when he missed it. But he's smart as well. Noda was alluding to this earlier this morning. At the 2nd hole, early in the round, no reason to take a chance. You saw Jordan Spieth sort of take a chance, but he was chasing. He's just playing to the middle of the greens. We saw this yesterday at the 11th. We saw it at the 16th. He's playing to the middle of the greens and working it. He got out of position here a little bit at the 14th. The whole location way over on the right. He's got a hook lie, so he's not going to try to hang one out there and try to stuff one in. He plays very safe. When he's out of position, plays to the fat part of the green. But I guess of all the up and downs that he had this week, the most impressive one was, with a bit of luck, this one right here. Of course, I say that with a little tongue in cheek. He's got so much power. Look at this. He knows it's straight in the bunker, and he's not worried one bit about it because he's playing from strength to strength because he is so good around the greens. Great break there, and taking advantage of that break. He has the ability, just like Spieth, to make these putts, well, that just stab you right in the gut. He's got it all. He really does. And even more so than Spieth, he's got power.
Interesting. Well, Jordan was almost offended in his press conference on Wednesday. One of the reporters in Boston asked him if he has a rivalry with Dustin Johnson. This, of course, on the heels of what happened at the Northern Trust. And Jordan said, I've had a rivalry with Rory. I've had a rivalry with Jason Day. Now Dustin Johnson's the next guy. They keep coming. It's always Spieth. But you talked about at the start of the show, Justin Thomas does have more power. It's 1 year. It's 5 wins, though.
It's a tall compliment to Spieth, though, that there are so many potential rivalries for him. When you start talking about Jack Nicklaus's rivalries, it was Arnold Palmer, it was Gary Player, it was Lee Trevino, it was Ray Floyd, it was Johnny Miller, it was Tom Weiskopf.
Speaks to Nicklaus.
It speaks to Nicklaus because he was so good for so long. What's the one thing that keeps popping up?
Jordan Spieth.
Jordan Spieth.
But the one guy that keeps winning is Justin Thomas. He's now won for a 5th time this season, and he spoke with Heather Cox.
Huge win for Justin. And Justin, you said you treat these playoff weeks like a major. How did that mentality help you out there get the win?
It got difficult on that back 9 in terms of the wind, and that 10 through 14 holes, it's tough. It's a tough stretch, and I felt like I really played those holes well this week. So I just was trying to stay patient, just like you kind of would in a major. And I mean, it was a shootout on that front 9. I mean, I was lucky to get off to a good start, or else I would have been way behind to start.
It's funny to hear you say the word shootout because actually when the crowd roared when you got the eagle on 4, we overheard Jordan Spieth tell his caddy Mikey, this is going to be a shootout. So how much did you echo those sentiments throughout the round?
It just was so soft today. I was honestly surprised how soft the greens were. I mean, I hit a second shot into 2 today that I thought was going to be a tap-in, and it just landed right at the top of the slope and spun back, which is something you're not accustomed to seeing here. So seeing that early, I was able to adjust. Jimmy and I were, and if we put the ball in the fairway, which we did a pretty good amount of times, we were able to be aggressive.
Now with this win, you're one step closer to the FedEx Cup. You're one step closer to potential Player of the Year. What kind of statement and message are you trying to send out today with the win?
I wasn't really trying to send a statement. I just was trying to win a golf tournament. I guess you can create something for me if it's good enough, but I'm just excited. I mean, I've never won a golf tournament where I felt like I didn't have my best stuff, and I played solidly these last 2 days, but first 2 days I just kind of got it around, and that's probably more satisfying than anything.
And your actions are speaking louder than words. Congrats, Justin.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And once again, the accolades will continue to come his way. Now, there are 2 giant events left, the BMW Championship and then, of course, the Tour Championship, leaving room for Dustin Johnson and Jordan Spieth to once again jump back into the conversation for Player of the Year. But as of now, it is Justin Thomas's to lose with this 5th win here at the Dell Technologies Championship. The International and the American President's Cup teams are set 1 through 10. Just the captain's picks remain. We break down the automatic qualifiers for both teams straight ahead on Golf Central.
Golf Central is brought to you by the new Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X. Choose the best for your game. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.